Hey there, folks. Welcome into the News 12 Now desk. Thanks for joining us here. It's just after 11 o'clock on our Monday, February the 12th, the day after the Super Bowl. It should be a national holiday, in my personal opinion. A little tired this morning, but we're here. We're happy you're here as well. We've got Will Rioux joining us here at the News 12 Now desk today. We are doing an I-Team deep dive this morning. We're talking about a former Wilkes County Sheriff's deputy who is running for Taliaferro County Sheriff. Will, if you want to introduce the story real quick, and then we'll go ahead and watch it and then come out and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, without going into it too deep, essentially we got information that a former Wilkes County deputy, or actually at the time he was with the Wilkes County Sheriff's Office, he was involved in a short pursuit that ended up with a family of 3 getting hit. We found out through his file and those crash reports that he didn't have his lights and siren on, so he was traveling at a high rate of speed there with no lights and sirens, so you really wouldn't know that he was chasing somebody at that point. So we kind of broke down what happened with that crash and started looking into his past, and we found out through his past that he had been with several other departments where there were some questionable things going on. So really breaking that down and trying to reach out to that family involved in the pursuit.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and watch this story. It runs about 4.5 minutes, and then we'll come back and dive deeper a little bit, talk a little bit more about this story.
Well, now former Wilkes County Deputy Sean O'Kelly has been terminated from the department since that crash in early January. We found this deputy has a pattern of problems with other law enforcement agencies, and we found he's running for the highest position in local law enforcement.
Georgia 10 bypass in Washington, Georgia. The only source of light comes from the TPS truck stop and emergency vehicle lights.
We need police out here, maybe an ambulance. There's been a wreck out here in front of TPS. It looks like an overturned car. It looks like a 2-car collision.
911 calls pour into county dispatch.
I think we need help out here right now.
Wilkes County Deputy Sean O'Kelly T-bones a family as they leave the truck stop.
There's a wreck right here on the bypass right here in front of TPS. It's 2 cars I can see.
Reports and surveillance videos shine light on the accident. January 6 at the TPS truck stop, Deputy O'Kelly is seen in his unmarked patrol car. The car he would later hit also there. Deputy O'Kelly is then seen leaving. The Georgia State Patrol says Deputy O'Kelly started driving southbound on Georgia 10 when he says he clocked a car going 90 in the opposite direction. Crossing the median, he begins a chase. Back at the truck stop, the family of 3 gets in their car, backs out, and heads towards Georgia 10 to leave. You can see the first vehicle at the top of the screen speeding by. The family pulls out, and Deputy O'Kelly's car comes into frame.
All units, be advised, you're en route to North Bypass in front of TPS, 1050 rollover.
This is the only video of the crash, and it's too dark to see the crash happen. That's because Deputy O'Kelly did not turn on his lights and siren, meaning his dash cam never activated. A report by the Wilkes County Sheriff's Office says Deputy O'Kelly was going 111 miles per hour, more than double the speed limit. Deputy O'Kelly was fired for violating the pursuit policy. According to Georgia Post, O'Kelly is currently under investigation for an incident in 2021. At that time, he was with the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office. And that's also where Deputy William O'Kelly is now running for sheriff. His slogan, "Experience Matters." Records show O'Kelly's experience includes working for at least 7 law enforcement agencies, all since 2001. He's been fired from 5 of them. He avoided being fired from a 6th by agreeing to resign. The I-Team sent open records requests to all 6 agencies asking for O'Kelly's personnel file. His file from the Morgan County Sheriff's Office says O'Kelly was fired while on probation. No reason is listed for the probation, and no disciplinary reports are in his file. And it wasn't until we received his personnel file from the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office that we found stacks of issues Morgan County failed to include. Performance evaluations, O'Kelly lacks knowledge with state traffic laws. Emails, O'Kelly conducted a traffic stop in a county where he does not have authority. Greene County Sheriff's Office, O'Kelly resigned instead of being fired. For what? The file doesn't say. Also, entire pages redacted concealing what his time with the Greene County Sheriff's Office was like.
Wilkes County 911.
But back to that night in Wilkes County, car parts and tire tracks pieced together the story of the crash.
I got an accident right out here in front of the TPS. They're in the ditch now.
An add to a pattern of bad judgment that's moved from agency to agency throughout Georgia.
Now, we reached out to William Sean O'Kelly about that accident and running for sheriff in Taliaferro County. He told us he cannot give us comment at this time about the accident, but says it was an unfortunate situation and that he's glad no one was injured. A GSP crash report shows the family involved in that crash was taken to AU. Post records show O'Kelly has not had any pursuit training since 2017. We requested dash cam video from GSP. They say they can't release that because of an active criminal investigation. Our I-team reached out to the family involved in that accident, but we have not heard back.
Okay, so, oops, a lot to unpack here. Not the weather show, sorry. A lot to unpack here. And starting with the last line of that story, the family involved we have heard back from them, correct?
Yeah, so I haven't heard back directly from the family, but now we have learned that in the last couple of weeks since that story aired, we have learned that attorneys are now involved. They actually reached out to us after the story aired and said that they were pretty upset with the statement by Sean O'Kelly, where he says he's thankful that nobody was injured, that we said at the end of that story. They're upset by that because they were injured as they were taken to AU, a trauma center in the area, rather than Wills Memorial, which is in town. So they said, I had the chance to ask the attorney, what kind of injuries did they sustain? Are they doing okay? The attorney said it's been a tough few months for them since that accident because I believe she said the driver of that, or the passenger of the vehicle, actually broke her pelvis and has had to get rods and screws. So she was in the hospital for an entire month. We still haven't had the chance to talk with them yet. We're working on trying to get a follow-up story to hear what happened that night from their point of view. Of course, they're trying to take legal action from our understanding. So there's not any, like, they can't go into super detail with everything that happened, but that's a little bit of a new update to this story is there are attorneys involved in this accident.
Yeah. And let's get into this guy a little bit here, Sean O'Kelly. We saw his records there where he's got a number of different agencies and a number of different unceremonious releases, if you will. So who is this guy? I mean, what's his deal with bouncing around from place to place and not being able to apparently hold one of these jobs for a while?
Yeah, so obviously we were able to request his files from all of these different law enforcement agencies that he's been terminated from according to post records. We found the most issues with Morgan County Sheriff's Office when he was there. I mean, there were stacks of papers, emails, disciplinary reports in that where like we quoted in the story, he lacks the knowledge of traffic laws. I mean, one of the bigger ones that was brought up even when we talked to the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office was that he pulled over someone and gave someone a citation in another county that he did not have jurisdiction in and handed out that citation. So where they couldn't even use their radar guns in that county. It was not permitted on that specific road. So how is he going to go to court and say, I was able to give someone a citation for speeding when you have no jurisdiction? So that was one of the biggest ones that even the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office pointed out to us. Obviously, they hired him after that. So having a conversation with them, it's just, you know, how has this guy continued to go from agency to agency with all of these issues, and then now he's running for sheriff when you have other agencies saying that, you know, he doesn't know basic traffic laws, and then now he's involved in this pursuit here where he didn't turn on his lights and siren and he's going 111 miles per hour on a bypass where the speed limit is 55 miles per hour. I mean, it's dark out there. We've driven that. There's no lights out there. You're seeing it. You saw it on your screen earlier when that happened. I mean, there's no way to know that someone's going 111 miles per hour when you're pulling out. One thing we didn't say was that they were able to calculate the speed of the family that was hit. They were going 17 miles an hour. So that gives you the difference of the speeds there. And I believe that Sean O'Kelly's vehicle did roll over. The families did not. It was hard to see the accident happen because of how dark that was. But I'm glad that we were able to go down to TPS Truck Stop, talk with some of the managers there and get that video to give us that perspective because, again, he didn't turn on his lights and siren, which means that there was no dash cam activated. The Wilkes County Sheriff's Office also says that there is no video on any other patrol cars of the aftermath there. GSP says that they can't give us that dash cam because of an active criminal investigation with this as well. So we were lucky to get that video. That's all there is of this accident. And then, of course, the tire marks and the car pieces out there still from that crash. They were able to paint that picture for us.
Yeah. So who is in charge of regulating all this? Is this Post? And for people who may not understand, if you want to explain Post briefly before, if it is them, who's supposed to be regulating all this?
Yeah, Georgia Post is, that allows officers to have their certification to be law enforcement officers. So they oftentimes, all the time, investigate officers when there are terminations and other disciplinary reports that come up with law enforcement officers. So they're the ones who will, I guess, regulate, and they'll look over all of these different issues that he's had with all of these departments. He's been clear there was only one thing back in '97 that popped up, but it was nothing major that had anything to do with his law enforcement career. So we didn't bother to look at that. I mean, it was so long ago as well. So that was the major thing. Yeah, Post looks over that, and he still has an active investigation into his time with the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office from 2021 as well. We don't know what that is yet because they're still making a decision on that.
And it feels like we've seen this before. People are just allowed to bounce kind of from agency to agency. Troubles, following them around, but still able to find and secure different jobs. What's been his response to this whole thing? I know you said, I'm just glad nobody got hurt, which isn't exactly true. So, I mean, what's he been saying?
So since that story has aired, I believe he posted something on his sheriff's Facebook page or his candidacy Facebook page that he has, basically saying that, the media or us, we don't tell the truth. But I mean, we have documentation of all that. He went on and posted all of his investigations and stuff like that, and some of those outcomes and what he thought of the situation. Again, I think the biggest thing was, his phone call that I had with him about no injuries. I mean, that was shocking to hear, considering the paperwork said that they were sent to a trauma center with that, and then hearing what the attorneys had to say. So that's really the only response. He can't give a comment to the situation because it is still under investigation, so he can't say anything on that with the Wilkes County crash.
Yeah, it could have been so much worse.
It could have been so much worse.
So thankful, I guess his point is nobody was
killed.
Injured.
Yeah.
But still a scary situation and kind of scratching some heads now because this is coming to light in a small county. I mean, this is going to follow him. Have you heard from the Taliaferro County community at all, sheriff's office out there? Anybody out there saying anything?
I know when we spoke with the Taliaferro County Sheriff's Office, they said that they didn't want this to look like they were pushing a narrative to, I mean, they have a huge sheriff's race coming up. They didn't want this to look like they were putting something out that was going to make him look bad. This was something that we found out independently and then started to look into. Taliaferro just happened to be one of the counties that he was involved with and then is running for sheriff. So that's how that came to light. But haven't heard anything more from anyone in the Taliaferro County community. So that's where things stand right now.
So if we weren't able to get that storefront video that you got out there, this may not even come to light, or no?
It would still be available. The visuals of that and what we saw on camera wouldn't be available to us to see. Just the timing of, when the family showed up to the store, how he was in the back of the store at the very same time, and then he left moments before they got into their car, backed out, and then went on the road. I mean, the timing of that is crazy. And the other thing to that is, with that video, you could see the first car that was allegedly going 90 miles an hour that he clocked. I mean, just seeing how fast they're going and then them pulling out, it's crazy. So, I mean, we wouldn't have any visual. That car wouldn't even know that they're being chased either without a lights and siren on from that deputy too. So it's shocking to see how fast that he was going when he hit that car.
Yeah, I think the crazy part for me is the no lights, no siren. I
Yeah.
mean, that feels like, sometimes you don't put on both. I've seen that plenty of times before, but at least one, especially when it's dark like that.
Yep.
Because if I'm being pursued by an officer and they don't throw the lights and siren on you, you're not going to pull over.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it just creates a more unsafe situation.
I mean, it's policy
any way you
too.
slice it.
Yeah, and it's policy with not only the department but with the Department of Public Safety with the state. I mean, there are state laws for this stuff and guidelines and policies and procedures that they have to follow. And of course, that's what Sean O'Kelly was fired for, given to us by the Wilkes County Sheriff's Office. And that was, I believe it was 4 days after the incident happened as well. So it was pretty quick.
And again, it said in there, doesn't have knowledge of traffic laws, state traffic laws. And do you know, I know it said he hadn't had pursuit training in however many years.
Since 2017.
Is that a yearly thing they're supposed to get, or is there a post-regulation on that?
From what we've seen, I don't know if there's a post-regulation on how often they're supposed to have pursuit training. But I mean, we've seen that with a few other police pursuits that we've had in our area where there hasn't been, they do have to get training initially, but follow-up training, I'm not sure of what the policies are for that.
Maybe something gets put in place there. So what comes next here? Because obviously this isn't done yet. You still got the sheriff's race coming up. What comes next with the investigation?
Well, talking to the family would be the biggest thing to find out where they're going to go with all of this. He's still eligible to run for sheriff right now. It depends on what happens with Post and whether Post wants to look into this Wilkes County situation as well. So it's more of a waiting game to see what Post does. Obviously, we have the sheriff's race coming up to see what happens with that, and then what the family is going to do with any legal action and whether they decide to speak out about what happened. So that's where we go from here.
So there's still plenty to uncover with this, and we know you'll be keeping an eye on it. Anything else that we should know about this before we wrap it up?
I think we covered it all.
All right, good deal. There you have it, folks. We appreciate you tuning in. Will, thank you as always. We got a little bit of time here until midday newscast. If you want to pop on over there at 12 o'clock, and we'll be back here tomorrow with some more News 12 Now. Thanks for tuning in.